Second quarter earnings report came in on AB InBev, also known as Bud Light. And as you may have heard, they lost $390 million, and that's pretty significant. What it means is, if you compare the second quarter earnings of last year, 2022, to second quarter earnings of this year, 2023, there's where you see that loss. They sold $390 million less this year than they did a year ago. Now, that's the kind of data that you and I have been looking for, because that confirmed that people who are not buying Bud Light and other AB brands are having a significant impact on AB InBev, also known as Bud Light. This lost revenue of $390 million has a humongous impact on AB InBev. I mean, you want to talk about the pressure being on those executives? It's on big time, because it scares the hell out of their investors. And when I talk about investors, I'm not talking about, little folks like you and I. That's not the bulk of the investors in AB InBev. It's institutional investors. People, corporations like Altera, they have a 10% stake in AB InBev, which is equal to about $11 billion. And over the last year, they've considered selling that stake because they want to cut a deal with Juul Labs. But they've been watching AB InBev, because AB InBev has said, well, we're going to get the revenue up. We're going to crank it up. And then stuff hit the fan. And man, this big loss, it's fantastic. It's good for us, bad for them. So we end up with the CEO, Brendan Whitmore of Bud Light, finds himself in what I call the trick bag. I mean, this guy has to convince his investors that, oh, hey, everything's fine, everything's good, got a little hiccup going on here, but we're going to pull it out of our ass just fine. And let me read you something here so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. All right, this is a little report on the revenue decline, which it says, second quarter of 23 revenue declined by 10.5%, with revenue per hectoliter. Well, that's like 100 liters of beer. They said that grew by 5.2%. Oh, wow. You lost $390 million bucks, but your revenue by hectoliter went up. Please, wait. Let me go on. Sales to wholesalers were down by 15%. Sales to wholesalers. Let's see, who are wholesalers? Oh, those are like those distributors. Yeah. That's down 15%. Sales to retailers, like 7-Eleven, bars and blah, blah, blah. That declined by 14%. Well, but things are looking good. Underperforming the industry, primarily due to the volume decline of Bud Light. There you go. That's the report. The reason why all this money is not flowing is because of low sales of Bud Light. Here's where Mr. Brendan Whitworth begins to pump sunshine up the investors, you-know-what. He says, the beer industry continued to distribute resilience in second quarter 2023, delivering revenue growth of 2.3%, while volumes declined by 2.5%. Nonetheless, our total beer industry share declined this quarter, but has been stable since last week of April through the end of June. Oh, it's been stable. Really? Stable like what? Stable like loss, consistent. Since April, we actively engaged. And here comes the bullshit. We actively engaged with over 170,000 customers across the country through a third-party research firm. And the data shows that most consumers surveyed are favorable toward the Bud Light brand, and approximately 80% are favorable or neutral. So, nobody's negative, right? They're favorable or they're neutral. You're telling me that you surveyed 170,000 people and 80% of them were favorable or neutral. As part of our long-term plan, we increased investments in our key brands, invested in measures to support our wholesalers, and continued key initiatives such as partnerships with the NFL, the NBA, Fields of Honor, and Farm Rescue. Oh boy, man, that guy, aren't you glad that you don't have to get up tomorrow morning and get in a Bud Light truck and go deliver beer?